Chapter 14. Pink Polos and Backpacks. I don't know how many times I said it. Kanye, pull up those pants. It must have been 1,000. I finally gave up. He would say, but Mom, it's the style. I don't know how the pants didn't end up around the ankles. It was a physics marvel how they would just hang low enough to still stay on. All the kids were dressing like that. I wondered what would happen if they were chased and had to break out into a run. But if you were cool, that's the way you wore your pants. And Kanye was no exception, at least not at first. He was around 15 years old when he started wearing them that way. That's when Scotty and I separated and Kanye and I moved to Tinley Park. Scotty wouldn't have allowed him to wear his pants like that, not for 1 minute. I didn't want to allow it either, but after a while, you learn to pick your battles. As long as his pants didn't actually fall down around his ankles, and as long as the other rules I'd set were followed, I wouldn't complain. We compromised. He could wear them low, but not as low as I'd seen some of his friends wear theirs. They could hardly walk without their pants falling completely down. I just couldn't understand this latest trend. It seemed ridiculous, and Kanye had all kinds of excuses for why the low pants were necessary. I have a big butt, Mom, he'd say. I have to wear my pants low like this so it won't look so big. But the day did come, thank goodness, that Kanye decided to have his own style. He stopped wearing his pants low and he stopped wearing those triple XL shirts that swallowed him. I bought all of Kanye's clothes until he got into the fourth grade, and he didn't seem to mind. When I look back at some of the pictures of him in those early days, it's apparent that both of us were thinking about something other than fashion. Still, I thought he looked pretty cute in the clothes I bought for him. I especially liked the little Miami Dolphins Letterman jacket I'd gotten him when he was 2. He looked good in pastel colors even then. They were pastel but still rich and didn't look feminine at all. That dolphin turquoise blue and orange really popped on Kanye. I'd have him in that jacket all the time. It looked good with his blue jeans and hush puppies. But some of the pictures tell a different story. The blue and red sweater that I had put with brown corduroys when Tony, my then boyfriend, took us to the auto show at McCormick Place, could hardly be considered fashionable. That outfit was sinful, and I have pictures to prove it. It looked like something I'd gotten from Goodwill. Maybe we were just in a hurry that day. Then again, it's quite possible that I had gotten it from some used clothing store. Quiet as it's kept, I loved the bargain. I didn't forget the Goodwill stores, but I did hit the Uniques more than a few times. I used to go on Monday nights when everything was half price. I loved shopping where everything in the store was affordable. I'd gather up a whole basket of stuff that might only get worn once after I got it home. Regardless, my bill would usually come to no more than $40. I thought that was far better than going to the local Kmart and buying half of the stuff for twice the price, not to mention the quality issue. I dragged Kanye with me a couple of times and he hated it. It didn't matter though, not when he was a little kid. I was the one forking over the dough on a teacher's salary. And at 5, 6, and 7 years old, who cared if the clothes came from Macy's or Second Time Around? After he got bigger and headed into those preteen years, any shopping I did at thrift stores was for me only. Being a typical kid, Kanye wanted his clothes to be new, and he wanted name brands. I'll never forget the day he was ducking around the aisles in Payless because he thought someone might see him. I guess I was partly to blame for his name brand Jones. I bought him his first pair of Air Jordans when he was 10. What boy didn't love Michael Jordan then? And to have a pair of those $65 Jordans was something special. I'd gotten them in Hyde Park at a shoe store that specialized in shoes for kids. They had all the latest styles and brands. PF Flyers, Keds, Converse, you name it. But nothing could compare to the Air Jordans. Nothing. Back then, $65 was quite a bit to pay for a pair of kids' sneakers. Even today, that's a pretty penny for a pair of sneakers that a kid will outgrow in a couple of months. But I didn't think twice about it. I would save in other ways, on other things, so that when there was something special to be purchased, I could once again borrow from Peter to pay Paul and purchase it. I didn't sacrifice getting Kanye books or a computer or anything else I thought more important than Jim's shoes. But he was a good boy, mischievous but good. As long as he did what he was supposed to and earned his way, I was into getting him what he wanted. And he wanted those Jordans. I just have to find a way, that's all. Kanye had wanted to be a fashion designer in the fourth grade, but he still focused on drawing and writing raps. By the time Kanye was 11 or 12, however, he'd become totally con- conscientious about how he dressed. That was when he first started doing his own laundry. One day he wanted to wear this particular outfit and it hadn't been washed. He was unhappy and I was not feeling it. I had a lot to do on a daily basis. I couldn't squeeze into my busy schedule making sure Kanye had a particular outfit clean on a particular day. He had clean clothes, even if it wasn't exactly what he wanted to wear. Now that he had become Mr. Style Guru, everything had to go his way? I don't think so. I remember clearly the day I told Kanye that if he wanted to have it like that, he needed to do his own laundry. That day he started doing it, and he did it from then on. He became pretty good at washing and ironing his clothes. His grandfather, Buddy, even taught him how to iron his shirt collars and how to tie a tie. I had given Kanye $200 for back to school clothes one summer, and he came back with one pair of jeans and two shirts. I was outdone. He was in the eighth grade. With $200, I could have bought at least four pair of pants and four shirts, some matching socks, and maybe even a pair of shoes. But he came back with one pair of jeans and two shirts and thought that was okay. We typically shopped at Marshalls where you could get designer brands at discount prices. Kanye surely didn't shop at Marshalls that day. I was so mad I refused to give him any more money. Not that there was any more to give. He was content, though, with those few pieces he bought. He was happier with those jeans and two shirts than he would have been with four times as much. That's when I knew he valued quality over quantity. And while I wasn't happy with him not getting more for the money I had given him, I begrudgingly respected his choice. Initially, Kanye spent more time and had more interest in his art and music than he had in clothes. But once he discovered clothes, it was like a light went on inside of him, and he poured the same kind of energy that he put into his art and music into putting outfits together and dressing well. It came without effort. When Kanye and his friends were preparing for a talent show or for some other event and they wanted a look, Kanye would be the ringleader in charge of deciding what the look would be. At first, his style was to match. Everything had to match: black pants, black shirt, black jacket. That's what his group Quadro Posse wore when they won first place in the talent show at their school. The four of them did a dance routine and were all dressed alike. Not identical, but alike in their black digs, right down to black shoes. The shoes had to be on point, too. That's one of Kanye's things. To this day, he is always telling me that the shoes complete an outfit. You can mess up a dope outfit with the shoes, he'll say. Kanye became my stylist when he was 15. He'd critique whatever I was wearing whenever I had someplace to go. Sometimes he'd be kind, other times cruel. Once he even told me he'd give up his allowance if I go to Jenny Craig. I guess I was looking pretty fat in the dress I'd put on. I didn't get offended, though. I didn't even take it personally. And I did not go to Jenny Craig. Not then, anyway. Kanye always had some advice on how something or someone could look better. He's a visual person and always has been. He may be a little too frank on occasion, but he always wants to see people look their best, especially those he's close to. Today, Kanye likes to be surrounded by people with style, people who know how to dress. I think Don C., Ibn, Leonard, John, and all the rest of the crew would all have been fired by now if they didn't dress fresh to death. If not, they would have certainly been teased to death. Poor Really, though. Really hears it for wearing gym shoes that Kanye and most of the other guys think are weak. When we're all together shopping, whether it's in Los Angeles or New York or even Japan, and someone sees a pair of gym shoes that don't quite cut it, we will say that they're Really Does. Really though left his shoes here, someone would yell out. I don't know where Really though Warren got his lack of taste in gym shoes, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by the teasing. He has thick skin. I catch it a lot too sometimes. Just when I think I've picked out something that is really fresh, Kanye or Don C or Ibn, John usually doesn't join in with them when it's about me. Will bust out with the Really though crack, or they may just shake their heads no. Since Kanye is so into fashion, shopping is one of his favorite things to do. I'd say he's a shopaholic. It's a habit now. Unless he's working day and night in the studio trying to meet a deadline for an album, he's going to get in some shopping. When he doesn't have the time to go himself, he'll send someone to pick up what he wants. Running around with Kanye and all the fellas in recent years, I'd begun to think that you need to have a lot of money to look good. But Kanye is the one who straightened me out on that. Although he has money that is out of most leagues, he shows me examples of people who don't have a lot of money but who look good all the time. They just know what they're doing when it comes to dressing. They know what looks good on them and how to wear it. I was glad he pointed that out to me so I can share it here with others. You don't have to break the bank to look good. You can study fashion and go straight to Marshall's or to the outlets and buy it for a lot less. This is not news to most, but it was to me. I'd shopped in Marshalls for some store like it since Kanye was a teenager and still wasn't getting it right. It's not the store you shop in. You can shop in Gucci and Louis Vuitton and still not have any style. It's not where you shop, it's what you buy and how you put your outfit together. The trick too is not to buy just because something's on sale. If you don't love it or if it's weak, leave it on the shelf. That's common sense, I guess. But a lot of times I picked it up anyway because the sale was so good. That's one way to have a closet full of clothes you never wear, or a style that definitely leaves something to be desired. I learned these tips from Kanye, and I must admit, I get a lot of compliments on my outfits these days. Fashion remains a big thing for Kanye. He loves it. He even brought his love of style to hip hop. He wasn't going to look like every other rapper, and he took a radical departure from typical hip hop dress. When Kanye first walked into Rockefeller, everyone looked at him crazy because he wasn't wearing an oversized sports jersey. Even before College Dropout, Kanye was onto something entirely different when it came to clothes. The big jerseys with numbers gave way to sports jackets, and the baggy pants to a dope pair of YSL pants. When College Dropout dropped, people started copying, biting his preppy style, his pink polo shirts, his proper fitting khakis and jeans, his Louis Vuitton backpack. No rapper has stepped out of the box like that. Who would ever have thought it would work? The sport jackets and polo shirts and then the sunglasses made a statement, and the fans were loving it. Benet, the woman who braided my hair before I left Chicago, had a 10-year-old son, Akayade, who was totally enamored by sport jackets because Kanye West wore them. One day, she ran across a Ralph Lauren jacket that was 80% off, with another discount at the counter. She grabbed the jacket as fast as she could. It was the perfect size, too. You have never seen a kid so thrilled that when he got the jacket, as when he got that jacket. Imagine a 10-year-old being thrilled about a sport jacket. He called it his Kanye West jacket. Every time he put it on, it made him feel that much closer to Kanye West. If Benet had let him, Akayade would have worn that jacket every day, right over his Kanye West t-shirt. Clothes that fit and that were all by standards considered preppy were not all that Kanye would bring to the rap fashion game. He brought the backpack too. He became the Louis Vuitton Don for the Louis backpack and other Louis apparel he wore. Some others may have done it before, but I guess that backpack, along with everything else, the preppy clothes, not being a former drug dealer or gangbanger, or rapping about guns and killing made it all stick. He was the definitive backpack rapper. He traded in green khaki canvas backpacks for the Gucci or Louis Vuitton ones, and instead of filling them with college textbooks, he was filling them with his music. Lots of mothers have told me about the impact Kanye has had on their children when it comes to fashion. They say the baggy pants worn low are starting to be worn closer to the waist. The huge oversized jerseys are taking a backseat to the polo and the polo style shirts. Ralph Lauren and others with a similar style have sold more polo shirts in the hood than he ever would have had Kanye not made polo a household word. It's a new day in hip hop, not just with beats that are more musical and lyrics that are more conscious, but with fresh to death clothes too. Now, all eyes are on Kanye for his soon to be launched clothing line, Pastel. It's an upscale line for a highly discriminating and somewhat elite. It will sport nice colors, pastel shades, in fact, simple designs, and high quality. They are the kinds of clothes Kanye will wear and buy himself. Remember the days when men couldn't wear pink? Now nothing's more fashionable, even for some rappers, than a stylish pink polo. One of the hardest things for me now is what to buy Kanye. He's very particular and knows what he wants. Christmas 2005, I was beside myself trying to think of what to buy him. What do you get your kid when he either has everything he wants or could certainly get it? It's not about the money. Kanye always tells me to buy him something small. Small or not, I wanted it to be special, something he would really like. Just as I was about to give up thinking about it and run into Best Buy to get the old faithful gift card. Kanye's a music and movie junkie, so I couldn't go wrong with the gift card. Don C. and I just happened to talk. I was standing in the Louis Vuitton store waiting on my purchase when Don told me that Kanye had been talking about the millionaire sunglasses that Louis made. Hardly anyone had them yet. I can get them, said Donna, the very cool lady who usually helps us when we shop at Louis Vuitton in Beverly Hills. And help me she did. She had them flown in from France, and I surprised Kanye that year with those glasses. I almost broke the bank to do it, but his reaction when I handed him those millionaire glasses was worth it. I can definitely see Kanye with the sunglasses line. I don't know of anything Kanye is as passionate about as he is his music and visuals, unless it's his clothes. Was he raised that way? Well, it's certainly in his genes. My father is quite a fashion plate. He loves to look sharp. He's now in his 90s and he's still a sharp dresser. My dad likes to wear a nice suit and has tons of them. His wardrobe is full of stingy brimmed hats and two-tone shoes. That's the way he always got down. Most of us in my family put a high value of dressing, and Kanye is no exception. I'm glad that Kanye has a passion for clothes. When he looks good in what he's wearing, he feels good. But it's about much more than clothes. It's about balance. And if you look great and have nothing else going on, what's the point? I was never bothered by what Kanye put on his body, as long as it came second to what he put in his mind.